Alright, let's dive straight into it because what we're about to talk about is heavy, it's messy, it's frustrating, and it honestly leaves you wondering how low can some parents go before they finally accept responsibility? Today's story focuses on Stephanie Jenkins, or some might know her online as the resilient Jenkins. Only when you peel back the layers, there is no much resilience. Just a lot of excuses and a lot of kids caught right in the chaos. Stephanie just dropped a bombshell. She confirmed what many of us already suspected, that to her, simply waking up to a TV and a hot breakfast somehow makes up for the years of homelessness, instability, and emotional strain her children are being forced to endure. But does it really? Today we are breaking it all down, not just with surface level shock, but with a deeper look into what these decisions are doing to the lives of 5 innocent children. Stephanie's latest attempt to justify her family's crumbling situation, she posted a video making breakfast, proudly showing off her morning routine. But it wasn't the eggs or the pancakes that caught attention, it was the caption. She wrote, POV. Everyone keeps saying our kids will hold this time of our life against us forever. Meanwhile, our kids wake up to the TV, hot breakfast in a hotel room vibe daily, and you've created a homey feel. Stephanie really wants us to believe that a television screen flickering in a cramped, stuffy motel room alongside a plate of eggs is somehow enough to wipe away the mountains of trauma her children are silently stacking up day after day. Trauma that comes not just from missing birthday parties or sleepovers, but from enduring 3 relentless years of instability, constant fear of being moved again, confusion about why their life feels so different from other kids' lives, and being forced to share tight, suffocating spaces with absolutely no privacy, no breathing room, no security, no true sense of home. Let's not sugarcoat it. These kids aren't waking up in a luxury suite with spa robes, fancy toiletries, and room service pancakes. They're waking up to the mildew smell of old motel carpets in a dingy, musty room where the walls are so thin you can hear every argument, every cry, every late-night footstep from strangers next door. Beds that probably creak with every toss and turn, air that feels heavy because there's simply too many people packed into a space meant for one. 3 years, not 3 days, not 3 weeks, not 3 months. 3 full heartbreaking years. And instead of rolling up her sleeves and working tirelessly to dig her family out of this, Stephanie's chosen to romanticize it, to spin it into some kind of cozy adventure where scrambled eggs and a flickering TV screen are supposed to make her children forget the gowning anxiety and loss of security they feel every single day. But trauma doesn't disappear because you hand a kid a cinnamon pop tart and turn on cartoons. Trauma settles deep in the bones. It lingers, it grows quietly, and it's going to be something these kids carry long after the TikTok videos have been forgotten. If that wasn't enough, Stephanie doubled down in her caption. She wrote, I am not denying the emotional effects these transitions has had on our kids, but our kiddos will be the first to tell you that mom and dad do everything we can to make our motel room feel like the homey, safe environment they need as children. Cooking homemade meals, sticking to daily routines, these are good things. But when Stephanie talks about them, she says it like she's doing something extraordinary, like it's a huge achievement just to scramble eggs or boil pasta. But let's be brutally honest, serving spaghetti on a flimsy paper plate doesn't erase the cold reality that your kids is doing their homework while hunched over a cluttered motel bed, surrounded by noise, distraction, and the lack of any safe personal space. It doesn't undo the damage of a child having to hear every whisper, every argument, every sigh because there are no walls or doors separating anyone. There is no sacred space where a kid can retreat to feel calm or collected. Homemade meals are a comfort, but they're not a substitute for the foundations the children desperately need. Stability, security, dignity. The peace of knowing you have a home that isn't temporary, a home that feels like yours. Children deserve more than microwaved lasagna handed out like a pizza. They deserve bedrooms they can call their own. They deserve to shut a door and know their space is respected. They deserve to shower in a bathroom that isn't shared by 7 people. Fighting over turns and facing filth every morning, pretending otherwise isn't just naive. It's cruel. It's dressing up survival as success. It's selling instability as adventure. And no amount of homemade pancakes or TikTok call me vibes can cover up the truth. These kids are being robbed of their basic rights that should never have been renegotiable in the first place. Right now, Stefan's children might appear okay with this life. They're young, innocent, trusting. They don't have much to compare it to. As far as they know, this cramped, unstable existence is just how life is supposed to be. This is their normal. Shared beds, peeling walls, endless noise, and watching their parents struggle without clear solutions. But one day they will know. One day they will look back with fresh eyes that have seen what real stability looks like in other families, eyes that understand what was missing, and that's when the pain will hit. They will realize that mom and dad could have done better, that there were choices, daily choices, that their parents could have made differently. That mom and dad did everything they could fairy tale will start to unravel thread by thread, because everything didn't mean sacrificing pride to accept help. Everything didn't mean putting down the phone and picking up a job application. Everything didn't mean setting aside rage-baiting videos for the sake of private, dignified healing. They'll see that everything was just a story their parents told themselves to sleep at night. And when Stephanie's kids finally piece it all together, when they realize their pain was a choice, not an accident, it will cut deeper than a cold motel room, any missed birthday party, any day spent playing in a parking lot. Denial might feel good for Stephanie now. It might even feel protective. Truth is a wrecking ball, and it's waiting silently for the day these kids are old enough to understand the choices that were made for them, or worse, the choices that were never made at all.
Much like the resilient Jenkins, I also grew up with really unstable housing, and I'm going to talk about my experience living in a motel as a kid. We went from a 2-bedroom duplex to a 1-room budget motel, and we were a family of 5. The motel that we had was 1 room. It had 1 bed, 1 bathroom, and a tiny little kitchenette area, which we were fortunate enough to have. It had like a 2-burner stove and a half-size oven and a 1 sink. I'm the oldest, and then my little brother is the next oldest, and we slept on the floor. We originally did have air mattresses, but they just kept popping all of the time, so we just resorted to having lots of blankets on the floor, and it was still so uncomfortable. My little sister had either slept with my parents or she slept in a playpen. I can't remember which one, but I want to say it was probably in a playpen. But she was just maybe a year or 2 old at the time. We had really limited storage space, so we had to be careful about the things that we accrued into the motel itself. I had my own duffel bag with 2 outfits, as my brother had his own bag, my parents had their own bags, and my little sister just basically had her diaper bag. Where the hotel was located at was in the ghetto of Vegas, like quite literally. So there was a lot of crime, there was a really busy parking lot, and we were right on like a main stretch of highway right there. So there was nowhere for me and my siblings to go outside and play. And even if there was, it was still way too hot. My dad did work, and we had a truck, but a lot of the times we didn't have the gas to be able to go drop him off at work and then go get him later on when he was off. So we had to just kind of sit at the hotel or motel while my dad was at work. Because of this, we faced a lot of boredom. So
you think it's just about the motel room? Oh no. It gets even worse when you take a closer look at the bathroom. Stephanie, in what she proudly called a reset film, herself cleaning the family's one and only bath, but what she revealed to the world wasn't a cute cleaning montage. It was a full-blown hygiene nightmare. The tub was littered with empty shampoo bottles tossed in like they were part of the decor. The drain was clogged with some kind of thick, slimy, unidentifiable gunk that made you want to bleach your own eyeballs for seeing it. And the dirt, it wasn't just some light dust you could wipe away. It was caked on the grime so heavy you could literally scrape it off with a fork. Let's not forget, this is the only bathroom 7 people have to share. 7 people, including young kids who need clean spaces to stay healthy. Forced to use a bathroom that looked like it hadn't been deep cleaned in months. Meanwhile, Stephanie and Drew, home all day, no jobs to rush to, no office deadlines, no shift work, just...
I'm getting tired of y'all equating poverty to being dirty. Girl, that's just you. You can just use your EBT to get motherfucking baking soda to brush your teeth. Because how in the fuck is it been 2.5 years for y'all to provide fucking hygiene products? Bitch, you got on here and you told the world that you needed this, that, and the third. Why you didn't ask for toothpaste? Now, granted, I didn't look at your motherfucking Amazon wish list. I ain't go over there. I don't follow you. I don't subscribe to you. But this is my point. Like, you had a whole Amazon fucking wish list and you ain't asked for none of that shit. I mean, you just went viral. Now you bringing this shit up. Like, ain't no fucking way you gonna tell me you didn't ask these motherfuckers for motherfucking toothpaste, toothbrush, tissue. You over here giving us side stories about your hygiene. You in hygiene poverty. But, bitch, you asked them on Amazon wishlist to give Drew a fucking shit to wash cars. In that moment, you didn't think to get some shit on your Amazon wish list to wash your ass, brush your teeth, like what? Okay, to wash, not even to wash cars. He said he want to make a business out of washing people fucking tires, bitch. You asked for a steam cleaner. You asked for bump bags and shit. Hell, you should have been humble and asked for fucking toothpaste, soap. What the fuck is you talking about? Girl, you got motherfucking Native, name brand Native. And don't get me wrong, I got Native skincare products too, but I got it on clearance at the fucking Walmart for $2. You're over here telling us that you can't afford this fucking type of shit. Mind you, I just put clear footage on my page that shows that you can go to local pantries, local community organizations, community ministries that will provide feminine products, hygiene products. And see, now you fucking trolling. Like, now you fucking trolling, Stephanie.
Just plenty of free hours that somehow still weren't enough to prioritize basic cleanliness for their children. And here's the part that's most baffling. In a tiny motel room, hygiene isn't just important, it's critical. It's the frontline defense against infection, sickness, and worse. When space is tight and people are breathing in the same recycled air, bacteria and viruses spread like wildfire. Because cleaning isn't an extra chore, it's survival. Instead of wiping down the bathroom daily, Stephanie prioritizes filming TikToks for clout. Instead of making sure the one shared space is clean, they're chasing views. And honestly, it's a miracle, straight up miracle, that the kids aren't battling constant infections, rashes, or even worse. But miracles have a funny way of running out when parents keep gambling with their children's health for internet points. If you think living in a motel is just a minor inconvenience, think again. Think long and hard. Because for children growing up in those spaces, it's not just uncomfortable, it's a daily assault on their sense of safety, privacy, and dignity. Plenty of people who have been there have opened up about their memories. And guess what? None of them look back with warm feelings or grateful lessons. None of them speak about it as some kind of magical boarding experience. They remember it was survival mode. Constant survival mode. One woman opened up about her own family struggle, living in a motel room with 5 people crammed into a space barely to fit 2, and not for years, just for 2 to 3 months. Even in that short time, she described it as absolute hell, pure catastrophic, anxiety-ridden hell. Waking up feeling trapped, going to sleep with the same people breathing down your neck, crying in silence because there is no private corner to hide your pain, watching your parents crumble under pressure and feeling powerless to fix any of it. But the key difference, her father worked, her family fought like hell to change their situation. They sacrificed, saved every penny, and clawed their way out fast as they could. They understood that no child deserves to live like that any longer than absolutely necessary. Stephanie and Drew, still stuck in the motel, still trapped, still refusing to make a real plan. No progress, no movement toward a better life. Just a never-ending parade of excuses, empty promises, and TikToks trying to reframe chaos as homey vibes. And even worse, they're recording every miserable second, broadcasting their children's hardships to thousands of strangers for validation, clout, and quick likes. These kids aren't just surviving trauma today. They're having their most vulnerable, painful moments immortalized on the internet, turned into permanent internet content that will haunt them for the rest of their life. Every time someone types their names into a search bar, there it will be, the evidence of their stolen childhood, laid bare for the world to dissect. A child that deserved protection, not exploitation. And if you're wondering, couldn't they get help? The answer is not just yes. It's a loud, resounding, absolutely yes. Stephanie's own mother stepped up. She offered them something they were so clearly lacking: housing, stability, a real home where the kids could stretch out, breathe, have their own beds, and finally experience the normal childhood every child deserves. A home that wasn't a cramped, temporary, bacteria-filled motel room. But Stephanie said no. Why? Because she and Drew didn't want to be separated. They wanted to stick together. They wanted to chase some twisted fantasy of being a power couple, even if it meant dragging 5 innocent children through years of preventable misery. Imagine choosing your pride, your ego, and your TikTok image over the chance to give your children safety, comfort, and security. If Stephanie had truly prioritized her kids, if she had even been willing to set aside her personal desires, she would have accepted her mother's offer. She would have said, yes, my kids deserve better, even if it's uncomfortable for me for a while. It would have been hard, sure. She and Drew could have stayed together and worked toward reunification while giving their children a stable foundation in the meantime. That would have shown true sacrifice. That would have shown real love. Instead, they chose chaos, voluntary chaos. They chose instability, overcrowding, unhygienic living conditions, and emotional turmoil, all to avoid the discomfort of having to actually work and rebuild separately. And now, their children are the ones paying the steepest, most heartbreaking price. Not Stephanie, not Drew, but the kids, who never asked for any of this and who deserve much more than the hand they've been dealt. Trauma doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it settles into the corners of everyday life, embedding itself into the smallest, quietest detail, the kind of things most people wouldn't even think twice about until it's too late. It's the tiny moments. Sharing a bed with your siblings because there's no space to stretch out, no place to call your own, no private world to retreat to when you feel overwhelmed. Having nowhere to invite your friends because you're too ashamed, because you know deep down that sleeping 6 people in a single room isn't something you're supposed to have to hide. Playing outside barefoot on concrete because there is no safe yard, no green grass, no place that feels clean or yours or comforting. Learning far too early that privacy, security, and peace aren't rights you automatically get. They're luxuries that some kids have and others can only dream about. And when these kids are older, when they've lived a little more, seeing what life could have been, they'll look back at all this, the evidence their parents posted online, the messy bathrooms, the broken promises, the desperate smiles barely covering the raw pain, and it will all come rushing back. They will realize the full, staggering weight of what they were forced to carry while they were still just kids. They will understand that this wasn't normal, this wasn't right, that they were asked to survive conditions that no child should ever have to normalize. And no hot breakfast, no quick smile for the camera, no well-edited TikTok is going to undo that kind of damage. Because trauma doesn't fade with time when it's left untreated. It goes, it deepens, it lingers in the silent moments when the world is quiet. You're left alone with a memory. Now let's talk about money. Stephanie and Drew always say they're doing their best, but somehow they always find money for a PlayStation 5, a shiny new Apple Watch, brand new tech gadget. Meanwhile, their daughter is squeezing into pants 3 sizes too small. Meanwhile, Booba is wearing the same crusty pants for days. Meanwhile, Deshaun's shirts look like they've been washed to death.
So let me get this straight. While you have a brand new Apple Watch, your children are in high waters. Your children are wearing clothes that do not fit them anymore. You couldn't buy a birthday cake for your son. Y'all were just using rags for yourselves because you couldn't afford toilet paper, supposedly. But you have a Apple Watch and a new $70, $100 game that you just bought for your PS5. And then you also said that you plan on being homeless with your children, your 5 children, for a year. To me, what it looks like is y'all want to play homeless so that you can use the money that you're making from social media on yourselves to buy materialistic things. So instead of being realistic and trying to get out of your situation, you're worried about material things. Drew and Stephanie also sold their van for a brand new car that doesn't even fit all of them. You should be taking your children on shopping sprees. Y'all should be getting an apartment or a house and shopping for your house in their rooms, buying them brand new shoes. The list goes on. And if they've been on assistance, why have they not been able to afford the things that they need? And every time that we bring stuff like this up, she always gets mad and she's like, I don't have to explain myself to you guys. But one day you're gonna have to explain to your children. Clock that one.
Priorities non-existent. How can you claim to do everything for your kid when you would rather buy a gaming system than a new pair of shoes for your son? Oh, and about those hot breakfasts Stephanie loves to brag about, they are not coming out of her paycheck. They are paid for by food stamps. Government assistance is keeping her kids fed, not her own hand. Yet, she proudly acts like every pancake is a medal of honor. It's not. It's just more proof that she's surviving on handouts while failing to build something better. Maybe the saddest part of all, these kids aren't just losing a home, they're losing their childhood. No birthday parties, no sleepovers, no normal milestones, just cramped spaces, broken promises, and a childhood they'll have to heal from for the rest of their life. Stephanie thinks a pancake breakfast and a second-hand Xbox can erase that. She's wrong. Very wrong. So what's next for the Jenkins kids? If stable housing has failed, if hygiene has failed, if clothing has failed, if basic needs are slipping through the cracks, how much more will these kids have to endure before something finally gives? And when it's all said and done, when the videos have stopped and the TikTok's fame has faded, will these kids ever be able to look back and say, my parents really tried their best? Or will they see it for what it really was? Selfishness masked as resilience. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe because sadly, this story isn't over, not by a long shot.